Picture this: you're standing in an airport, your heart pounding as a customs officer torches your passport right before your eyes, all because of the color of your skin. Now imagine you're not just anyone, you're a powerful black mayor, a beacon of progress in a world that still clings to prejudice. This is the gut-wrenching, pulse-pounding story of Dr. Ilara Thompson, a woman whose fight against systemic racism at JFK Airport explodes into a global movement for justice. If you're in the USA or UK, where battles against discrimination burn hot, this tale will hit you like a freight train, exposing raw truths and inspiring change. Don't just read, join the fight. Hit that subscribe button now to dive into more electrifying stories that challenge power and amplify the voiceless. Subscribe today, fuel the revolution, and don't miss a single word of this 30,000-word epic. The morning sun pierced through the towering glass walls of John F. Kennedy International Airport, casting a mosaic of light across the bustling terminal where travelers dragged suitcases, exchanged hurried farewells, and navigated the cacophony of multilingual announcements. Dr. Ilara Thompson, a 45-year-old black woman with an air of quiet authority, stood in the customs line, her tailored navy blazer crisp despite the red-eye flight from London. Her mahogany skin glowed under the fluorescent lights, and her eyes, sharp with intellect honed over years of overcoming obstacles, scanned the crowd with calm resolve. As the mayor of Brooksville, Georgia, a suburb she'd transformed with progressive policies, she was returning from a global urban development conference, her passport thick with stamps from diplomatic trips to Cape Town, Paris, and now London. Her leather carry-on held notes for her next council meeting, a laptop, and a dog-eared copy of Beloved she hadn't had time to finish. Ilara was accustomed to scrutiny. She'd felt the weight of suspicious glances since childhood in Atlanta's underfunded neighborhoods. But nothing prepared her for the moment Officer Marcus Hale, a white customs officer in his late 30s with a scowl etched from years of unchecked power, locked eyes with her. "Passport and boarding pass," he barked, his voice dripping with hostility. Ilara handed over her documents with a polite smile, her tone professional. "Here you are, officer. Heading home to Atlanta." Hale flipped through the passport, his fingers lingering as if searching for an invisible flaw, his mind clouded by biases rooted in his small-town Pennsylvania upbringing. "Brooksville? Never heard of it." "What's your business?" he pressed, ignoring the restless line behind her. Ilara mentioned her conference and mayoral role, but Hale's eyes narrowed, his lips curling into a smirk. "Mayor, huh? Let's see about that." Without explanation, he gestured to his partner, Officer Lena Vargas, a Latina in her early 30s who often stayed silent to avoid conflict in their male-dominated precinct. "Step aside, ma'am." "Random check," Hale ordered, leading Ilara to a sterile side room with metal chairs and a one-way mirror, the air thick with unspoken tension. In the interrogation room, Ilara's composure held, though her pulse quickened. She emptied her bag as instructed, revealing clothes, conference materials, and a water bottle. Nothing suspicious. Hale's frustration mounted, he'd expected something to justify his instincts. "This passport looks fake," he lied, holding it up to the light, his voice laced with malice. Vargas shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting to the floor. Then, in a shocking act, Hale pulled a Bic lighter from his pocket, used for his cigarette breaks, and flicked it on, the flame dancing as he held it to the passport's corner. Ilara's breath caught. "What are you doing?" "Stop," she shouted, lunging forward, but Vargas restrained her, murmuring, "It's protocol." The passport ignited, pages curling into blackened ash, the acrid smell of burnt plastic stinging the air. Within seconds, her proof of identity, a symbol of her citizenship, her achievements, was a smoldering heap in a trash bin. Hale smirked. "Oops. Looks like you're not going anywhere. We're detaining you for fraud." Ilara's heart pounded, rage and disbelief colliding. She'd faced microaggressions. Store clerks trailing her, police slowing as she walked, but this was an assault on her existence. As they cuffed her and led her to a holding cell, she demanded a supervisor, her voice steady despite the fury. "You have no idea what you've done," she warned. Hale scoffed, radioing in the incident as routine, while Vargas avoided her gaze, guilt gnawing at her silence. Unbeknownst to them, Ilara had sent a quick text to her chief of staff, Keisha Monroe, before her phone was confiscated, detained at JFK. "Passport burned. Call everyone." Keisha, a 32-year-old with a law degree and a knack for crisis management, sprang into action, alerting Ilara's legal team, local media, and Senator Alicia Harris, a longtime ally. Within an hour, the customs office's phones rang off the hook, supervisors whispering in panic. Captain Daniel Reynolds, a grizzled veteran nearing retirement, stormed into the holding area, his face pale. "Who authorized this?" he roared at Hale, who shrugged. "She looked suspicious, sir." Passport seemed off. Reynolds' eyes bulged. "Suspicious? That's Mayor Ilara Thompson. Elected official, connected to the White House." Hale's smirk vanished, his face draining of color as the weight of his actions hit. Vargas gasped, steadying herself against a wall, her mind racing with the consequences of her complicity. Mayor Thompson? The woman whose TED Talk on community policing had millions of views? Panic spread through the precinct, officers scrambling to cover their tracks, but it was too late. Ilara, uncuffed and seated in a conference room with bottled water and apologies, watched the chaos unfold, her mind plotting her next moves. The media storm erupted swiftly. A passenger, Jada, a young activist who'd seen Ilara at the conference, filmed the escort to the side room, tweeting it, "Customs targeted a black woman at JFK. This is Mayor Ilara Thompson. #JusticeNow." The post exploded, garnering millions of views, retweets flooding from the USA to the UK, where similar profiling stories fueled outrage. By noon, #Justice for Mayor Thompson trended globally, with clips of Ilara's speeches juxtaposed against images of burned documents, evoking passbooks destroyed in apartheid South Africa. Keisha's press release hit newsrooms, and Ilara, still at the airport, gave a live CNN interview. "This wasn't just about a passport. It was an attempt to erase my identity because of my race. This happens daily to those without my platform." Her words sparked protests outside JFK, activists chanting, "No justice, no peace." In London, black British communities held rallies, linking Ilara's story to their own struggles with stop-and-search policies. Hale, in the break room, scrolled through his phone, sweat beading as he saw headlines, "Customs Officer Burns Black Mayor's Passport, Scandal Rocks JFK." His wife called, hysterical, as reporters camped outside their queen's apartment. "Marcus, what did you do?" she sobbed. He stammered, "It was a mistake," but the lie felt hollow. Vargas, alone in the locker room, stared at a photo of her son, Miguel, 8, his smile a reminder of why she endured Hale's bullying. Her own history, crossing the border as a child, facing slurs, made her silence unbearable. She met with Internal Affairs, handing over recordings of Hale's rants, "They don't belong here." The recordings, leaked to BuzzFeed, went viral, turning the case into a hate crime. Vargas testified, tearfully, "I was scared, but silence is complicity." Ilara's lawsuit, filed by her attorney, Malik Washington, sought $15 million for civil rights violations, destruction of property, and emotional distress, plus systemic reforms. Bias training, oversight, and a public apology. Malik, a former NAACP lawyer, held a press conference, displaying the burned passport's ashes. "This is what racism does, destroys identity." Discovery revealed interrogation footage, Hale's slurs audible, sparking outrage. An audit uncovered 47 similar incidents at JFK, leading to firings. Ilara's nephew, Darius, a tech-savvy 22-year-old, dug into Hale's digital footprint, uncovering his likes on alt-right posts in a Telegram group, Badge Brothers, linked to Proud Boys forums. The FBI raided servers, arresting 12 agents. A whistleblower from the conference revealed Ilara's itinerary was leaked to a customs contact by State Senator Harlan White, a Georgia conservative who saw her as a threat. White's aide, caught on tape boasting about the scheme, flipped, providing emails, "Make her trip hell." White's donors, a construction firm dodging Ilara's regulations, wanted her discredited. The aide's tapes led to White's resignation. Hale, facing charges, fled to a cabin in upstate New York, tracked via GPS after forgetting to disable location services. His arrest, broadcast live, was a spectacle, SWAT teams storming the cabin, Hale cuffed in pajamas, shouting, "This is a setup." Vargas testified against him, detailing his targeting of minorities. The trial convicted Hale of destruction of property, civil rights violations, and hate crime enhancements, sentencing him to 7 years. Ilara's personal life added depth. Her husband, Jamal, confessed depression from the stress, leading to therapy and renewed vows. Their daughter, Maya, 17, wrote a Yale Law essay about the incident. Jamal Jr., 14, started a youth activism group. The $20 million settlement funded Ilara's foundation, Passport to Justice, aiding 1,200 victims by 2027. A Netflix documentary, Burned, won Emmys, and her book, Burned But Unbroken, sold 500,000 copies. Ilara's governorship campaign, with the slogan From Ashes to Action, won in a landslide. At JFK, the Thompson Center opened, with a statue of Ilara, From Ashes, Justice. The final twist, the conference firm, linked to White's donors, planned to plant drugs, but Hale's act thwarted it. Ilara laughed in her TED Talk, "Sometimes, your enemy's mistake is your salvation." Her legacy reforms, schools named after her, global inspiration, proved one woman's fight could change the world.